All right, we are live. This is not Two Guys in a Wrestling Podcast. This is Wrestling with Maverick. But for one night, we become Two Guys in a Wrestling Podcast again. How you doing, Joe?
All right. I'm not in uniform, so.
Neither am I, so don't feel bad.
Well, I could get the hat. Oh, funny enough, I got the hat sitting on the back of the couch.
So,
Crap.
Joe,
It was full of shit.
what is new with you?
Yeah, pretty much absolutely nothing.
I mean, you haven't been in podcasting. You haven't been in the media eye for almost a year now. So what's been going on with you?
Exactly that. I just walked away from everything.
This is our first time being back together since July 16th of last year.
Actually, I take that back. I did an interview on a cryptid show a few months back.
So we're here to talk about the bloodline.
Yeah, if you're in Lexington and you weren't right, especially with the headset, and you weren't at Rupp 2 weeks ago, that was a show. It was good, start to finish.
It was actually a decent show. I couldn't go, unfortunately. I had to take care of some stuff with Natasha, but I did watch it on replay. It was crazy.
It was good, start to finish.
Yeah.
It was. And that was the kick heard around the world.
Yeah. And I love how they're setting it up for Money in the Bank. We have Solo and Roman versus the Usos. So who do you got winning this big tag team matchup at Money in the Bank?
Honestly, I think it's going to be a actual. I think it's going to lead to the downfall of Roman Reigns, because I think it's going to be the Usos that win, and I think it's going to be Solo that picks up the loss.
So kind of like what happened at Night of Champions.
I think Solo's going to pick up the loss due to the Usos. Roman's going to blame Solo for everything, and that's going to cause Solo to turn on Roman too.
So kind of like what happened at Night of Champions, basically.
Pretty much.
I can see the same thing happen, to be honest with you. Now, here's my question, and I know people have been asking me, at least. I'm not sure if they've been asking you. What do you think of Roman now having all three different versions of the WWE Championship?
Well, I think calling him the undisputed champion is stupid.
Yeah.
He's not undisputed. There's a world heavyweight champion.
Exactly.
And I think he's carrying the other two more as a kind of playing the crazy klepto thing. Kind of Kenny Omega is the belt collector, only better.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I was going to say, it's kind of like what Kenny Omega did when he won the Impact and TNA championships, along with the AEW title.
Right. But I think, and I think that's going to be the thing that's kind of the drawing.
Yeah.
He's going to be this, he wants everything.
Yeah.
He is the guy. He is the head of everything. He wants it all. And I think that's what the three belts is signifying. Because if you notice, any time in the past we've ever had an undisputed champion that had two belts, when they made the single title, the two belts were gone.
Yeah.
This is the only time a champion has carried all three.
That's also true. Yeah, the old gang back together for one last night.
Yeah. Well, you never know. I mean, hell.
Anything's possible. I mean, you could get a wild hair up your ass and say, "Hey, let's go back." Screw it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, this whole bloodline storyline's been going on for what, 3-4 years now, almost.
Yeah. I think it's a little over, or it's approaching 3 years, because Roman won the Universal title before the bloodline was formed.
Completely. Yeah, he won it. Yeah, he won it at
and he's
Payback.
approaching 3 years.
Yeah, he won it at Payback. He beat Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt technically to
Well, he
win the
beat Braun
champion.
Strowman.
But yeah, you know what I'm saying though. So do you see there being a climatic end to the bloodline? Will it be Solo being the one to beat Roman, or will it have something to do with The Rock coming back? I mean, there's a lot of questions.
Honestly, and I'm going to say it. I mean, another Rock is a huge name, and he's going to draw. It doesn't matter what he does; he's going to draw.
Yeah.
I don't think he's needed right now.
Honestly, I don't think he's needed either.
You
If it
know,
was
I
me
don't
doing
see it.
it, if it was me doing it, here's how I would do it. I would have the dissension start at Money in the Bank, like you said. I would have, you would see that dissension start going into Survivor Series, but yet Roman overcomes, and then at the Royal Rumble, Solo wins the Rumble. That's what I would. That's how I would do it, and I would go
Now,
the
see,
route of Batista in '05 with him choosing
I
Roman.
I think they're really pushing. Honestly, I think Jimmy's getting a push.
It would make sense for Jimmy to be the one to do it.
And there's something else you got to remember with this. Something that they keep. See, that is what my favorite thing about this whole storyline has been from day one.
What?
It really makes you pay attention
Yeah.
because
For the
the
first,
smallest things could mean something. What do they keep saying about Jimmy now? He's the
trying to
big
think.
brother.
Yeah, he's the big
He's
brother
the
trying
big
to see.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the big brother.
Yeah.
Listen to your big brother. Follow your big brother. Your big
Yeah.
brother will take care of you. Well, what's going to happen if, okay, there's a bully. He's 2 or 3 grades ahead of you in school. He's picking on you. He's beating you up every day. You got a big brother. What happens?
You
Big
get the
brother
big
comes to
brother.
take care of business.
Exactly. You get the big brother involved.
And that's what I'm seeing now. Jimmy has kind of fought against Roman from the beginning. Him and Jay always had that thing. Remember when he first came in, he was trying to get Jay away from Roman.
Yeah.
And then he kind of took his place when Jay got injured.
Yeah.
Well, now it's Jay and his little brother.
Yeah.
The kid, the pup of the family, the youngest one.
Exactly.
And if he starts doing the stuff to Solo that he used to do to Jay, that's where I think you're going to see Jimmy step in as the big brother and be like, "Hey, back off, my little brother," and that's going to be the more of the change.
Yeah.
I think that at some point now the question is, does he win or what? But I think the match that's coming is going to be Jimmy versus Roman.
Yeah.
And that is where I would have the ultimate. That's where I would end it.
Yeah.
Because what I would have do with that is Solo come running in, spike up, everyone always get ready to take out Jimmy. He turns, spike to Roman.
Exactly.
Jimmy pins Roman, 1, 2, 3. You have the Usos united against Roman. The bloodline is completely dead.
Yeah. And as for Jamie's comment here, Roman did win the championship in the Thunderdome era.
Yeah.
I have not heard the rumors of them bringing back the Thunderdome screens for anything. I don't know what's going on
No,
with
they won't.
Yeah.
I mean, why would they? The Thunderdome was great for what it was and when it was. That was Vince at his prime, to be totally honest. Let's face it, Roman, and this is something that, love him or hate him, you've got to give him credit on this. He took the title at the absolute possible worst time in live entertainment history.
That's true.
He took the titles in a time where live entertainment couldn't have an audience.
Yeah.
Vince, his show was dead. He didn't have an audience.
Would you honestly
Roman
say
ran
that
with that
though?
damn ball. Yeah,
Because think about it.
because
You
the
also
main
had
revenue, one of the main revenue feeds for the WWE is live events.
yeah, but I'm just saying but at the same time that Roman was beginning his ascension, you had Drew McIntyre there holding it down. So can you really say it was
For
just Roman?
yeah, because Drew was getting stale by that time. Let's face it, Drew McIntyre's title reign got stale quick. I love Drew McIntyre, but as a champion, and especially at that time, after that initial, he beat Brock Lesnar. Then you had the like never-ending feuds with Randy Orton, and then the never-ending feud with Bobby Lashley, and it was just like it was done.
Yeah. But I mean,
Roman was the only one that there was still focus on. Roman was still the one when he came on the screen.
also true because I forgot
You paid attention,
he was main eventing those pay-per-views while McIntyre wasn't.
right? He was the guy that you paid attention when he walked on the screen.
I would
And I
say
think,
probably
and I will say, a lot of it has to do with the fact that for years now, everyone's wanted to see him as a heel. We finally got it, and my God, he is a great heel.
but
I mean,
okay. So going back to the Thunderdome era, do you think Roman's heel turn would have worked better in front of an audience at first, or the way it happened?
I think it would have worked probably better in front of the live audience because a lot of our okay, you got to look at it as a lot of our thoughts on wrestling are memories.
Yes.
Like I was just saying that show here at Rupp 2 weeks ago when Jay turned around and kicked Roman, there was 12, 13, 14,000 people, all of them just screaming at the top of their lungs. That was
Mm-hmm.
huge. That's one of those things you'll never forget it. I took Tara went with me in Nelson Mania. She is not a wrestling fan. She's a fan of the half naked guys, but not really the wrestling part of it. You know. Well, hey, like you're not a fan of the half naked women. Let's be honest here. But even she was sitting in the arena cheering and clapping and yelling. She was so into it. If Roman had turned heel in front of that live audience, we would have had that instant reaction. And that would have been put into memory.
Oh, yeah.
That would have made it a major memory. That moment, that hatred.
Hey, Lindsay.
Hey,
But yeah, honestly, I like the way they did it with the Thunderdome era because it kind of gave him a chance to wet his feet a little bit as a heel and see how far he could go with it.
well, I think the thing to really look at is with the Thunderdome era, wrestling in general was given a shit sandwich and it made it into filet mignon.
True.
I mean, let's face it, they had every available opportunity to fail in every way, shape, and form. And they didn't. They came out stronger.
They really did. I mean, the entire Thunderdome era was just literally insane. I mean, we got the Firefly Funhouse matches. We got Bray Wyatt being set on fire by Randy Orton. Just a lot of weird stuff, man.
Right. Well, it could be done then.
Like, I don't know if you could do a Firefly Funhouse today.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would work in today's wrestling. I don't know if it'll work with today's.
Yeah, they would do. They could do cinematic matches. They've done them for decades.
Do you think it would? Do you think it would still have the same effect as it did in the Thunderdome era versus now?
Well, they did them before.
Or do you think it'd be a logistical nightmare?
No, I mean, look, they did the graveyard match between AJ Styles and the Undertaker.
That was
since
during
then.
the Thunderdome era, though.
No, there was audiences for that.
There was no audience for WrestleMania that year, bro.
Okay. Well, we've got the Hardys what was it?
The final
Hardy
deletion.
Compound
Yeah,
final
the final
deletion.
deletion.
You've
Well, that
got
was
the
it.
Bray
That
Wyatt
was
swamp match
Thunderdome era
against the.
again.
No, it wasn't. That was New Day versus the Wyatt family. The Wyatt family didn't
Oh
exist
yeah,
until the
yeah,
Thunderdome era,
yeah. Oh yeah. I
where
thought
the
you were
New Day
talking
went out and
about.
met. Oh
I
no,
thought
you were
you were.
talking. You thought you were the Braun Strowman one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was talking about the one between the Wyatt family and the New Day.
Oh, I didn't know they. I didn't know they even had one.
Yeah, they did. Basically, it was a parking lot brawl, but they went out into the middle of this freaking swamp and beat each other up in the swamp.
Oh, so kind of like WrestleMania 12 with Goldust and Piper.
Just yeah, the parking lot brawl match. That's there again. That's another great example, and that's thought of as one of the best matches of all time.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So what is your take on wrestling now that you haven't been doing a podcast with me weekly? Are you enjoying it more? Are you even watching? What's your take on it?
Raw is really hit and miss with me. I don't know. It just doesn't. It's not. It's not really. I don't know how to describe it. Raw doesn't have the same. Actually, I think once I could be in trouble once the Bloodline story's over. That's the one that's holding me right now.
So what do you think they're
I
going to
will
do?
say that I've started liking it more again because I turned it into work. I had to watch this. I had to watch that. I had to read about this. I had to read about that. I had to look at this. I had to look, and I got burned out on it. Now
I
I've
mean,
kind of gotten to the same thing. I was getting burned out again, but this you can see the end coming to the Bloodline. That storyline is getting ready to be done. And the fact is, we've devoted 3 years of our life to that story. We have watched it unfold week after week after week after week after week. You got to see how it ends.
exactly. Yeah, you just have to. There has to be a climactic end to it. And honestly, going back to what you said, this became our entire lives. Our entire lives was encompassed by wrestling, was it not?
Right. Yeah. And that's just, whenever you take something you like and you make it into that, it becomes work rather than pleasure.
Yeah. Like how many times were me and you on the phone having conversations at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning about what to talk about on the podcast or what to discuss?
Yeah.
You know, like
You
that was
have to.
an
You have
everyday.
got to. Yeah, it's an everyday thing. Because if you don't, then, you just sit there with your dick in your hands and.
Yeah. It's called mental masturbation, y'all. Is what it's called.
Pretty much.
But so I'm glad that you're slowly starting to like it again. So what is your foreseeable plan moving forward? Are you going to step slowly back into podcasting, or are you entirely done?
Now, still haven't really gotten back into anything. I mean, it's something that I guess, again, it's something that I've done now for, oh dear God, about, oh, yeah, probably, we're approaching 20 years. But back when I started it, there was no podcasts.
Yeah.
They were this thing that was only on Apple or for iTunes.
Yeah. Yeah. And now it's everywhere.
Yeah, and there's so many different platforms and everything. I don't really see, like I said, I don't. Me and Michael still talk about the Night Stalker every once in a while. Yeah, it's one of those things we just don't want to let it die. And the fact is, the people don't let it die. We get new likes, new follows, new comments, new messages every day.
And it's kind of the same thing with the wrestling podcast. Me and you both wanted to walk away, and for a while we did, but people just wanted us to come back.
It's just at some point you just sit down and figure out what you're doing. And I'm not at that point right now. Like like I was talking to you the other day, it's like I've got stuff planned out months in advance now, you know.
And
And that
that's
was
not
another
like
thing
you
that
at all.
no, that was another thing the podcast kind of did is I couldn't plan anything for. Oh, I got to watch wrestling. Well, I can't do this because I've got a show to do, or oh, I can't do that because I got to research this. And now it's like I went to SmackDown on Thursday or Friday. I went to a Thomas Rhett concert on Thursday. For Tara's birthday's in July, so we got that kind of covered. Then August is kind of clear. Then September's Guns N' Roses, which my brother's actually coming into town to go to Guns N' Roses.
I don't think I met your brother.
No, nobody has. He hasn't been in Kentucky. Good Lord, he hasn't been in Kentucky in 30 years.
And also, October we have that ghost that ghost hunt
Yeah.
in October.
And you're talking about that on the 7th. I got Jelly Roll on the 11th.
You're becoming more busy now than you ever was.
Yeah, but at least it's fun. We're going out and seeing stuff, and
as long as you're having fun, man, it's something that matters.
Right. I mean, that's just it. We're going out and doing stuff and going to shows and concerts and stuff like that, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Do
you?
I'm not even a country music fan, but those guys Thursday night put on a hell of a show.
Now, have you been paying attention to anything with the CM Punk stuff going back to AEW?
Just more shots being fired by Punk. And the thing of it is, this is something, and I think this last break he took, like, two things can happen when you take a break like that. Either the new will wear off, or the all famous "How can I miss you if you won't go away?" You come back and you're oh yay, he's finally back, But it also it gave people time to watch CM Punk and realize that ain't the CM Punk that left the WWE.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people commenting that now. It's like he's getting sloppy. He's not able to pull off the moves like he used to. He can't do this. He can't do that. I think that break gave people time to actually look at CM Punk and realize, other than the name, what is he anymore?
True.
And I mean, they were showing like he tried to do. I can't even remember what. I think he was trying to do like almost looked like a sling blade, which I know he doesn't really do those. It completely fell. Like the guy fell on his. He fell with the guy on his back on his hip.
Yeah. And I know, I know when he tried to do the buckshot lariat with Adam Page, he couldn't really do it.
Nope. They were showing a couple of them that he would try to like do the spring off the rope, and he'd just fall on his ass.
It's because whenever you're away from wrestling, as long as CM Punk was, I mean, his original hiatus from wrestling was 2013 to when did he come back?
2021?
Something like that. So how long of a time is that?
9 years.
So he was gone for 9 years.
No, not 9 years. 2021? 8 years.
Well, 8 years, whatever. He was gone for 8 years. He comes back for what, 6-7 months, maybe?
Yeah.
And then
he definitely they were talking about his ring shape. He is not in any. He's never been like the muscular, chiseled guy, but he's actually got a bit of a pot belly now.
And his cardio is not what it was in 2013.
No. But he's also what, 40 something now?
Yeah, about that.
So you can't expect that. But
and honestly,
the issue is the fans are. No, that's what I'm saying. The fans aren't expecting that, but Punk is, and Punk hasn't gotten through his head that, hey, you know how you go up the hill and then you get to the top of the hill. Once you get to the top of the hill, you got to start going back down the hill.
Yeah.
Time and your body do that naturally. You ain't got to convince it. And that's where Punk's at right now. He's on the downslope. He's got to realize he is getting ready for his end.
But
And I
okay,
don't think he realizes that.
let me ask you a question then. Okay, going to taking time off. Whenever it comes to older guys taking time off, look at Stone Cold Steve Austin, look at The Undertaker, look at Ric Flair. How can those guys still go at the level that they did when they come back?
Actually, do you remember that Stone Cold match against Kevin Owens?
It was a lot better than people gave it.
It was a disaster.
Reason to be.
It was a disaster. I mean, call it what it is. It was a disaster. And the Ric Flair match, that was carried by Jay Lethal and
Jeff Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett, and
Andrade.
Andrade, yeah.
Okay, I'm not talking about this last one. I'm talking about like back in like the early 2000s when they would take time off and then come back. I mean, look at Undertaker. He took time off in the early 2000s, came back, and he was a better wrestler. Right. Why do you think that is with them versus with CM Punk?
Age, for one. I mean, Flair was getting into the Punk age group. The Undertaker wasn't. He was in his 30s.
Yeah.
Austin was in his 30s.
Yeah.
You know, and there are some people, you know, there's people that always joke about the fact that they know the guy that's like 6'4", 6'1", 6'2", that can eat an entire bucket of chicken and a large pizza by himself and gain like a quarter of an ounce, where another person walks by and smells it and gains 10 pounds.
Yeah.
That's Ric Flair. Ric Flair would go out all night drinking, take a couple of girls back to the motel with him, show up at the studio to have his health test done after he finally crawls out of bed and gets over the hangover enough to function, go to the studio to have a health test done, and have a 55 resting heartbeat. You know, Flair is a genetic freak in that sense. Look at Jerry Lawler. Lawler is proud of the fact that he's never worked out a day in his life. He's never been to a gym. There are just people that are like that. Punk isn't. You know, I think Punk, he's always had a bad attitude. He's always been hard to get along with, hard to work with. I think Punk has done enough when he was in his prime to make his name marketable. Everybody knows who CM Punk is.
Yeah.
Everybody follows CM Punk. That he knows he's going to get the big money contract. He's going to get the main event matches. He's going to get the sold out arenas. And all he has to do to get those things is show up. And that's what he's doing. He's showing up. He ain't trying to better anything. He's not trying to leave a lasting legacy. Like they talked about when Ric Flair did that last match, even though it was a train wreck, it was horrible. Flair was still in the gym 7-8 hours a day. Flair was still working out in the ring 2 or 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
Flair was getting back into ring shape. When The Undertaker took his time off, came back, he got back into ring shape. He had matches that were never seen because they were done in his farm. The same with Austin. The same with Brock Lesnar. The same with anyone.
Edge.
Yeah, Edge. They came back and they competed at that level again because they got ready to compete at that level again. Punk didn't have to. Punk knew what was going to happen when he came back. He knew that people were going to go crazy for him. You had Tony Khan literally throwing his daddy's checkbook at him. Whatever it's going to take to get CM Punk. And they got him. But they got him a name only. They didn't. That's the thing. It's the new wearing off of him. The whole, oh, are you guys tired of me yet? Yeah, they're starting to get tired of you, punk, because you're botching moves. You're not having matches like you used to have, you know. But AEW's whole business practice is on nostalgia pop.
Yeah.
You know, Jericho goes out and they talked about what is, you know, oh, what's one guy that you've been around but you never got to work with? Oh, well, it would have been great to have worked with Sting when I was in WCW. Well, he's in AEW now. Yeah, but we're both old and it wouldn't make any sense now. Now they've got him in a thing with Sting.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they do.
And tonight is their Forbidden Door pay-per-view, so.
Well, it's going to be forbidden on TV to me. I swear to God, even Nelson, as big of an AEW fan, Mark as he was, I won't even call him a fan, he was a mark. After the Birthday Cake of Doom match, he's like, I'm never ordering a pay-per-view from them again. He was embarrassed. I felt bad. He paid $50 for that damn thing.
Yeah. After that pay-per-view, I stopped. I stopped. I couldn't stomach AEW. And everyone's
I couldn't before that.
And everyone's like, why? And I'm like, because it's just they're trying too hard to be something that they're not. What they need to do is figure out their identity first before they try to copy anybody else.
I don't necessarily even think they're trying to copy anybody anymore. I just think the lunatics are running the asylum there. And, you know, Tony Khan is not a businessman. He's not a TV guy.
No.
And if he would say, they say that those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. What caused WCW to have that huge boom in the 90s? They went and they got Savage. They got, Hall,
they got that
Nash, the Ultimate Warrior. And that was their whole purpose, was the nostalgia pop. They went and they got Piper. They had Hogan. They went and they got every name that had been big for the past 20 years showed up at some point in WCW in some role.
Yeah, they got that nostalgia pop. They didn't really build anybody except for Goldberg.
The bad thing Goldberg. Well, the thing about Goldberg, and it's no offense to Goldberg was always going to have a short shelf life. One, like you said, his specialty was 3-minute matches. He'd come in, beat the crap out of somebody, leave. That was his thing.
That was it.
But the thing is, that's what the people wanted to see. They wanted to see this giant beast come in there, spear the crap out of Disco Inferno again, and leave.
That spirit of the disco was funny. I'm sorry. That spirit of disco was funny. He ran through.
Right. Well, because that was actually one of the funniest things I heard DDP talk about. Is the first time they were in a match together, and Goldberg didn't realize that there was actually a way for people to take the spear. He's like, so I took the spear the way you would do it in a normal, working sense, and he hit the mat so hard he knocked himself out.
Yeah.
It's like, and he goes, when we got in the back, I looked at him like, damn, kid, what were you trying to do? Well, that's the way you do it, don't you? You have to knock them down. No, we fall down. We fall. We work together.
Okay, you watched Goldberg's career in WCW, right? What was the best spear you ever saw him do?
Disco.
Was it Disco? I would say Jericho. That spear he did to Jericho on that episode of Nitro in the aisleway, that was pretty good.
But no. Well, the thing of it is, he legitimately didn't like Disco Inferno.
Right.
So he admits that when he would spear Disco, he tried to hurt him.
Jesus Christ.
And there were a couple of times, I'm pretty sure he speared him in the stomach, and I saw his head pop out Disco's back.
Right?
But I think my favorite one ever, it wasn't a spear, and it happened to Fort Neal Skipper.
God.
He goes up to kick him, and Goldberg grabs him with one arm, picks him up in the air by his own leg, and slammed him into the ground. I'm like, you remember Bam Bam from the Flintstones?
Right?
Goldberg just Bam Bam Felix Skipper.
He's
like, bam, bam. Yeah, he goes, he kicks, and Goldberg's just like, bam. And I felt so bad for him.
Right?
You know?
Because what did Elix Skipper ever do to Goldberg?
And the bad thing was, Elix Skipper, I always thought he was really good and really underrated.
Dude, Elix Skipper is really underrated. His stuff in TNA was insane. That Hurricane Rana spot with Chris Harris.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
Good.
I always thought he was really overlooked, misused.
Well, in WCW, of course, he's going to be overlooked. He was going to be stuck in that
He was too small.
cruiserweight division and not be pushed any higher.
Right.
You know, because
Eric Bischoff didn't think anyone should main event if his head came above their armpit.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's the whole reason why Eddie and Benoit and all those guys left.
Yeah. And Benoit, Eddie, Saturn, Jericho. I mean, the list can go on.
Yeah. And people honestly don't know this, but I think you told me actually that the franchise was supposed to go with Eddie, Benoit, and Saturn.
Yeah.
And he was going to be the leader of the Radicals.
Right.
Why didn't Shane Douglas go? Was it because of the heat from what happened with Shawn?
I think so. I don't exactly remember why, or I don't even know if he actually ever went into details why he didn't go. He just said that was the plan. And it could have also been money, because if you remember, not long after that, he went to ECW.
No, he went back to WCW.
No,
Shane did.
Yeah, he had done the franchise there, but they made him kind of a central figure.
Yeah.
WCW started using him, and there was also the one other thing. He couldn't stand John Laurinaitis, and John Laurinaitis was in talent relations at WWE.
True.
Not long after that, he was in charge of talent relations.
Yeah,
because it was one of the times they fired JR.
Yeah, John Laurinaitis became the talent relations guy, I think, after WCW got bought.
Yeah, but it wasn't. But he was already in the talent relations department. He just became the head guy at that point.
Yeah,
because you know they talk about it all the time. The divas all through that time. Laurinaitis would actually sit and circle girls out of a Victoria's Secrets catalog and say, go contact their people, see if they want to become a wrestler.
Right.
Yeah, he would literally do stuff just on. Well, it's just live on Facebook, right? We're not like gonna get in trouble or nothing.
No, we're good. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so he would do his whole strategy of picking out female wrestlers was the fuckability.
Pretty much, yeah.
If he wanted to nail them, they had a job.
Yeah. So, what's your take on Bray Wyatt now? I mean, with the rumors of him coming back, how would you bring Bray Wyatt back?
Well, I sure as hell wouldn't do it the way they did it. They had the greatest build up to the biggest popcorn fart I ever heard.
But how would you do it if you were in charge?
I think I would just have him come back. You know,
you wouldn't do a big to-do with it?
No. They just went through that. They just went through the White Rabbit thing with him, and I think if they did it again, especially after the letdown that this was, and granted, it's not his fault. They might just try to pick up where they left off, because from what I understand, first he got injured, and I did see the injury on his hand. I mean, his fingers are crooked.
Was that from the Royal Rumble or from the house show before?
It was a house show. Then you got, the stuff. Then he apparently had some kind of illness, and they're not really going into details about that.
Right.
So, and he's not going into details about that. He just, like, the stuff that I've read, even that he's put out, has been like, I'm doing better, or I feel fine, stuff like that. So that tells me that originally everyone thought the illness angle was just an angle.
Yeah.
To get him off TV, kind of scrap what they were doing and come back. I don't think so. Because it was dropped too quickly.
So you think they're going to pick up with Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt on TV again?
I would. Honestly, I would. And just try to go from there.
Isn't Bray Wyatt on SmackDown?
Actually, to the best of my knowledge, he is right now a free agent. He did not get drafted.
Okay, so let's just fantasy book for a little bit. There's a built-in story with Bray Wyatt that could work if they decide to go that direction, and that built-in story is Roman Reigns.
Right, and I've thought about that as well, because, and especially now that you have the Usos out of the picture of the bloodline, you've got just him and Solo. Now you have a 2-2 combo. But then there's also another storyline that is also could be quickly picked up and quickly done on Raw, and that's Judgment Day versus Wyatt. Or
Cody. Because if you remember, Cody was Bray Wyatt's pro on NXT Season 2.
Right.
And Bray did say in a promo in FCW, the reason why Husky Harris no longer exists is because Cody killed him.
Right.
So there's three built-in stories right there for Bray Wyatt to return
with. Yeah. And I think that if things, I think the obvious, well, not really the obvious. I think if I'm going with one or the other, I would have to go either Judgment Day Rhodes, because I think if you threw him in the bloodline mix right now, it would just be pissing in the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So you would have him feud with Judgment Day or Cody Rhodes. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing a Cody Rhodes Bray Wyatt feud.
I think that one would be the best right off the bat, because like you said, you do have the build-in, Husky Harris pro from NXT thing. At the same time, Cody is on this kind of kick of needing to beat people.
This could be someone that has already. Well, here's the thing: Bray Wyatt has beaten Roman once before. Has beaten Roman how many times? I'm not talking about in the current iteration.
Right.
I'm saying
I think
altogether.
A couple of times at least.
So if you have Cody beat Bray, does that not build Cody's reputation a little bit more?
That's what I'm saying, and he needs that right now, because kind of like you said it back before WrestleMania. Who has he beat?
And of course, all the internet fans are going to say, well, look at his run in AEW. I'm not talking about his run in AEW. I'm talking about his run in the WWE.
That's what I'm saying. Since his return at WrestleMania 2 years ago, he's beaten Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar.
And The Miz.
Yeah, but who hasn't?
Good point. But still, he's beaten The Miz.
If you want to really like break down the records, The Miz hasn't won a match in like a year and a half.
Yeah, he's become a glorified jobber.
Well, look, he's, again, same story with CM Punk. But the problem is The Miz has accepted that.
Yeah.
So The Miz is doing other things. The Miz is looking beyond it. The Miz is working. because I can't stand him when he's on TV. But the fact of it is, he knows his shit. He's
Yeah.
good. He's working with the up and comers. Same with Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler is working with the up and comers because he's going to make them. I guarantee you, when the Miz does retire, same with Dolph Ziggler, they're going to be road agents and they're going to be trainers.
Yep.
They're looking to their future. They know their door is shutting. They know they're not getting another world title run. They know they're not going to be the main event of WrestleMania again. They see their door shutting. Now they're looking to the future. What are we going to do to continue to work, to continue to have money, to continue to support our families? And that's why they're going, into developmental stuff. They're going into working with the young and upcoming talent. I don't remember who the quote was, or who he's from, or who he was talking to even. I can't remember. I can't remember the quote. But he looked at, there was an older guy that looked at one of the hot rookies, and he's like, "Kid, there's one thing you always got to remember in this business. The same people you step on, or for everybody you stepped on going up that ladder, there's going to be somebody to step on you going down the ladder.
Exactly.
You go out of this business on your back.
I think that was
You
Kevin
start
Sullivan that
losing.
said that.
It might have been, because that's just it. You go out of the business on your back, you lose.
Exactly. So what do
You
you
make
think
the
of?
guys coming up.
Yeah. So what do you think of Tommaso Ciampa coming back?
I was glad to see it. I don't necessarily know if I want to see DIY again.
Well, he attacked Johnny Gargano, so I don't think we're going to see DIY.
I thought no, he attacked the Miz.
Was it the Miz? Well, I
Yeah, it was the Miz.
I just saw the guy laid out, and I saw the attire, and it looked like Johnny Gargano's for a second.
Yeah, he went after the Miz.
Oh, so it was the Miz. Okay. So he attacked the Miz. We very well could see DIY back together. Do you want to see that? Or do you want to see Tommaso go a different way?
That's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily. Well, I'll come right out and say it. I'm not the biggest fan of Johnny Gargano.
Would you like to see Tommaso maybe in another tag team? Maybe with Karrion Kross?
No, I would like to see him go just actually get a run, maybe as a, I think him and Walter would have an absolute barn burner.
That match in NXT. Wow.
Yeah. So I think seeing them kind of go at it for the Intercontinental title, not necessarily run, but just a good feud with that. Because I think Ciampa is too good to sit in a tag team.
What about, do you see him feuding with Karrion Kross at some point?
Well, I could, but then again, what's Karrion Kross done? I was joking with Tara about that because he always does this thing where they show the tarot card with the face. They showed it to Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio beating AJ Styles. AJ beats him.
No, Karrion beat AJ.
No, because and that led to the Yim or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Mention
Mia Yim, whatever you want to call her this week. Went to that mixed tag team match or whatever it was.
Which that was actually a quick match.
Was it really a quick match?
You know what really sucked? I actually made a sign this time and did an AJ Styles sign. I took over 80 freaking pictures at SmackDown. I got one decent picture of them. I was like, really? One guy I was like really hyped to see, and I get one freaking picture.
All right, so let's compare the Raw me and you and Weasel went to SmackDown. What show do you think did better?
SmackDown, hands down. Hands down, SmackDown destroyed that Raw.
There was only one high spot during that Raw I liked, and that was the wall flip that Kevin Owens did.
Right. I was about to say the wall flip from Kevin Owens. I got two. The wall flip from Kevin Owens and the R-Truth Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, that one got me too, bro.
That
one
was
popped
awesome.
me.
Yeah,
that
those.
was good.
But other than that, I them out of the fucking building over how quick the match between Kevin. They had been hyping that damn thing like crazy. Wasn't it? Was
Yeah.
Owens, Joe, and Big Show in a street
Versus
fight
Rollins
versus Seth Rollins and
AOP.
was it AOP?
Yeah.
And it was over in like 3.5 minutes.
Well, I thought it was over in a short amount of time, shorter than that. I thought it was like 2, maybe.
It may have been, but all I really remember from the main event is everyone in the arena chanting, "This is bullshit."
Yeah, and I think Big Show hit Rollins with the knockout punch.
No, Big Show lost.
Oh yeah, that's right. Big Show did lose.
I think it was Buddy Murphy did something.
Buddy Murphy
Remember,
was
it's
still
when
out
he
there he was still out there from losing to Aleister Black.
right.
And Rollins and Murphy had that like face-to-face thing or whatever.
And Murphy became his follower.
Yeah.
And interfered and helped Rollins beat the Big Show.
It was a weird time. It was
like a 2-minute match.
It was a weird time in 2019.
And yeah, that like I said, that's it's funny because like wrestling, like music. I was talking about the concert we went to Thursday. Okay, to me, the first two guys, Nate Smith and Cole Swindell, were better than the headliner Thomas Rhett.
Yeah.
For one thing, Cole Swindell he's got a huge hit out right now, and that was his show closer. So the second, literally the second, because it's got this little intro clip play. The second everyone heard that whole arena just erupted. Everyone was loving it. If the show had ended at that moment, once that song was over, everybody would have walked out of that place on cloud nine. It would have been the greatest concert ever. And it's the same with Raw, the Raw we went to versus the SmackDown I went to. We ended with, actually, we got 2 dark matches.
Yeah.
But as far as Raw, the event itself goes, as far as SmackDown went, we end with Roman Reigns laid out in the ring against the ropes like this, having just got kicked by the Usos.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to get any better than that. That's just it. It wasn't going to get any better than that.
And the Raw that we went to ended with the Big Show laying on his back because of Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins and AOP.
After a 2-minute match.
Yeah.
That they hyped for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, they hyped that. They hyped that match for 3 weeks and through the entire show almost.
Right. We're hearing nothing about the street fight coming. Street fight's coming. The street fight's coming.
Yeah. We get to it, and it's like the birthday cake of doom from AEW.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I got choked up there.
Oh, you're good. Well, this was fun going down memory lane with you, Joe. And anytime you want to come back on, let me know.
Yeah.
But
just I'll see what I'm doing.
This has been Wrestling with Maverick on ASAP Network. We'll be back next Sunday with another Sunday Fun Day with my regular co-host, Holly. So, thank you, Joe, for being on. Thank you, everyone, for being in the chats, and we'll see you next time.